All right, everyone, another one's going to take it with Dee Snider now joining the ranks of people like J.K. Rowling and even, for a brief moment in time, Mark Hamill and others, as well as that dude from Kiss. Can't remember his name because I don't give a shit about Kiss. It's one of the most overrated bands that has ever existed. By the way, their fucking disco album was the only listenable one. Dee Snider is currently getting roasted by the Wokoids for saying that children should not be taking castration drugs or chopping their genitals up like chop suey. This is considered to be a far-right Nazi opinion at this point. If you want kids to be able to be kids and understand that they are not mentally capable of understanding the long-term ramifications of doing these things, then there's something wrong with you according to the woke. He speaks for the silent majority, but it really is a silent one because they keep getting browbeaten into thinking that they're bigots for some reason if they believe that a 10-year-old should just be left to be a 10-year-old. Well, let's put this in perspective. You can't drink. You can't smoke. You can't join the military. You can't vote. You can't buy a car. You can't drive a car. You can't go to certain movies. You can't go to nightclub or anything like that. You can't hire a stripper. There are so many things that as a minor you can't do in the United States. You are very limited in your capability. You can't sign a contract on your own until you're 18. Under general circumstances, I know there's emancipation and stuff like that, but in general, you can't manage your own finances. You can't manage your own business deals. You can't take out a loan. The list goes on and on and on. In some countries, you can't even buy a plastic fork at this point. You go to Britain and you have to show ID to buy a cutlery set, a fucking butter knife. Thankfully, the United States hasn't become quite that authoritarian, although it's marching that direction. If you can't do these things, there's a reason why. You can't consent to sex with an adult, etc. That's because you're not mentally developed enough to understand the long-term consequences in general. Now, there are some teens out there that are more intelligent than 50-year-olds, and there are some mature people who are very, very immature. I realize that every teenager considers themselves to be one of the blessed and enlightened 1 out of 100 of them that probably could figure out a loan or a credit card and not run themselves into debt or fuck up their life or something, or could have a beer and not become alcoholic or do something stupid. I realize that, and I realize that if you're under 18 and watching this, yes, absolutely, you're one of them. You're one of the special ones. Trust me, I've been a teen before. I know the mentality. However, the vast corpus of them aren't, because they're not capable of doing these things in a rational manner. That's why they also shouldn't be doing this. And I understand some people say, well, if the parents consent, it's about parents' rights. No, it is not the parents' right to influence Jimmy into cutting off his sausage. This is why, by the way, I'm also against male genital mutilation of infants. I'm also against the idea of parents circumcising their infant sons. It's a barbaric, outdated, ascientific, useless practice that is only upheld repeatedly because of a combination of propaganda and religious bitching. Well, we don't allow parents to dock their kids' ears or cut off the tip of their nose because they find it aesthetic or morally pleasing to their deity. It's the same fucking shit, different asshole. Yeah, I know false equivalency, inverting your penis into a fake vagina, is not the same as cutting off the foreskin. Alright, that's fine. It's still a form of mutilation. You're basically saying, well, all I did was give my kid a little bit of diluted arsenic. It's not like I gave him a gallon of cyanide or anything. Alright, you still fed him poison. And poison their mind too, if you're into that sort of shit. Anyway, I think kids should be able to be kids. Dee Snider thinks the same. Now, let's keep him in context, and we'll compare to J.K. Rowling, because it's the same sort of thing. J.K. Rowling, long-term feminist, very LGBTQ plus MAP IOU 123, very, very much in favor of that. Third-wave feminist. Supports, I believe, Green Party or labor causes, so economic leftist. No problem with redistributionism. Does a lot of, campaigning for Ethiopian famine kids and shit. That's the sort of person that she is. She's castigated as being transphobic. Why? Because she thinks that women should be left alone in the bathroom and not be harassed. It believes that women exist. Dee Snider believes that children should not be permanently disfigured in what may end up occurring, which is that, they're 20 years old and they realize, oh shit, I made a mistake. I'm actually not trans. I just thought I was because I'm young, potentially influenced by my parents or by culture. I have a feeling that a significant proportion of people that are declaring themselves transgendered, or gay or lesbian in some cases, aren't. I have a feeling that they're doing it because it's the only way out for some people from being constantly harassed and abused by wokeoids. They formed a lynch mob in which white is not right, male is pale, etc., etc. And if you don't have at least one particular brownie point within the grievance structure, you're at rock bottom and there's no advancement for you. Some people are going to live that lifestyle just for affirmative action in college applications. This is why, by the way, transracialism never took off as a cultural concept, because it would benefit the wrong people. You will note that this is sort of meandering in the same direction. Now, I've made it clear before my views. If an adult wants to go to the drag show, that's fine. If an adult wants to dress in drag, that's fine. If an adult wants to perform have surgery done on themselves to change their genitals or, get fake boobs or whatever the fuck they want, I don't really give a damn. It's not going to offend me. You're going to need a lot more than that to impress me. I was using 4chan in the 2000s, so that boat sailed quite a long time ago. It's going to take a lot more than being transgendered or a lesbian or something to irk me, because I don't care. You're an adult, you can do what you want. I'm not going to judge somebody based on the way they look or the way they act, unless it impacts me or it impacts culture in a wider setting. So there's a difference between, hey, this person's gay, okay, who cares? Tell it to someone who cares. And hey, that person is gay and they're attempting to force other people to do gay stuff in the name of wokeness or something like that. An activist, self-professed leader, then it's open to criticism. Oh, you're hiding behind your id pole to push authoritarianism. That's never happened before with any other group identity. Any other Marxist subversive identity either. It's not like id pole tends to be spawned for a reason by empowered substructures of culture or anything like that. Dee Snider is not saying he has a problem with transgendered people. He's saying that kids can make mistakes. It's like, and he's comparing it to himself, saying, look, I was, dressing in makeup and long hair and shit like that and wearing dresses and stuff. It didn't make me trans. It made me a little bit out there. It made me a lot of money. And that's his reality. He knows better than most that particular thing. It's how he made his mark. With Twisted Sister, him putting on effectively drag/glam style makeup and shit like that was sort of the thing. It was being the brown milk. It was what set him and the band apart to the point where they could actually break through in an oversaturated market. Yeah, Twisted Sister made some good music back in the 80s, but it wouldn't have stood out as much if it hadn't have been for the style. This is the same with many other bands. Kiss, although I don't like them, to be clear, they're full makeup and the demon tongue sort of thing. As far as an image goes, it really did set them apart from other bands competing at the time. It was all about appearances. He's correct. Snider is correct. Kids, if a kid can't consent to having sex, to buying a car, to smoking a cigarette, to signing a contract, however meaningless it might be, if they can't do any of these things, then why should they be considered to be mentally capable of doing something potentially, again, irreversible on their own body? And I keep hearing from some people, well, it's not being done to kids, but it is. They talk about it constantly. Why are you even bothering to gaslight on the subject? It is being done to minors. This is not about, hey, we should ban transgendered people and drag queens. No. It's about protecting kids. Just like nobody has a problem with a person who is transgendered doing their thing, being whatever they want. I don't care. Nobody else cares. But you also have to protect female sports. I don't care about sports, so I care much less about and talk much less about that issue. But if they want to have their sports league, they should not be competing with people who are full of testosterone, where if their players, I believe, injected testosterone, I'm pretty sure that would disqualify them, if I remember correctly. That's interesting. So there are people who are doping on your teams effectively. It's just their body is doing it for them instead of them using a needle, and so it's all good or something like that. And it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Apparently it's transphobia to think that Jimmy shouldn't have his cock inverted. I think that that's child abuse myself. The kid wants to dress the way they want to dress, like Dee Snider definitely did. No, that's not irreversible. I don't care. If Jimmy wants to wear a dress to school, there may be some bullying, but ultimately he's an American and has his rights. But if he's saying, hey, I feel like a girl in my mind, and I want to start hormone replacement therapy, etc., get bottom surgery, you got to understand that while that may be genuine dysphoria and that may be helpful psychologically, it may also literally just be a phase, and you're going to end up with... We've had people who have detransitioned already from having been kids or adults at the time that they started and regretting it. While these cases are not the majority of cases, there are enough of them to cause concern. And so children's bodies should be protected, because clearly we try it in every other manner. That's why we don't give them beer. That's why we don't let them take out the home loan. It's self-a-goddamn fucking explanatory. That's about all. Peace out.